It has been a long time coming, but it's finally time to finish the series. Today I'm about to start off with the Assassin's Blade. I'm kind of doing it in chronological order of events that happen in the book, but I will be doing a tandem read, and these vlogs will just mainly contain every 2 books, because I think there's 8, so that leaves me with like 2 books per vlog, especially because they'll be getting longer. Today I'm actually buddy reading this entire series with my friend Roseanne. This will be spoiler free. If there is a spoiler section, I will indicate as much, but for today we are planning on reading The Assassin and the Pirate Lord. My plan with this is to kind of sit down, annotate it a little bit, just because this is my very first hardcover set of the series, and I do want to go on a more annotation route than I have previously done before when I just had the paperback, because obviously this is a lot more durable. The spine can crack a wee bit, will be fine, but I'm really excited to jump into this one. I will kind of give you my thoughts and my ratings on each short story within this book, and then we will talk about like the overall rating, but I'm really excited to jump into this one. I am a fan of these covers, in case anyone is curious. I'm really happy that I got these. I think they're really stunning, and yeah, I really can't wait to continue reading. I have finished reading the very first short story in The Assassin's Blade, and I just want to talk about it. I've given it a 3.5. I can't remember what I gave them previously. If I can, I'll just put that on the screen. What I am doing this time around is I'm making little notes. So I have these like sticky notes that you can just paste over, and then I'm like underlining sections, adding some notes. I'm going to be doing this for all of the Throne of Glass books that I will be reading. But let's talk a bit more about the Assassin and the Pirate Lord. I do know the story is important for future events, so that's also why I'm paying a little bit closer attention, so you can see any kind of foreshadowing. I don't think I showed you what I will be tabbing in this volume. So that's the tabbing system. The red is romance, the green is funny, the like darker blue is foreshadowing, and then the lighter blue is sad, and then the yellow is important. That's just how I tended to do it in all the other ones. Yellow tended to lean towards the more important stuff. But I do think that this is a very interesting and a really great introduction to Selena as our assassin character, just because we see her do a lot more action in the very first short story. I know a lot of people complain about Throne of Glass, where, you know, she's kind of seen as this badass, but you don't believe that to be the case. But that's why I prefer always to start with the Assassin's Blade, just because there's so much context. And whilst that context doesn't make sense as you're reading it, but as you read through the actual full-length novels in the series, you can kind of see where the connections are and the important bits and stuff in here. This is definitely an important novella. I wouldn't skip over it. This got multiple novellas, sorry, and it's one bound-up book. But I really am enjoying this. I am really looking forward to continuing on with this and then getting into Throne of Glass whenever that may be. It will probably be in the upcoming week. So this vlog will only contain the Assassin's Blade. finally back with an update of the Assassin's Blade. I just finished The Assassin in the Desert, which is one of my favorite stories in this collection entirely because we actually really get to see Selena unwind. I feel like we get to see her become who she could have been if she had a more relaxed life, a different life, a playful life, and it's both heartbreaking and heartwarming. I'm really excited to continue on with The Assassin in the Underworld. A lot is happening, and obviously as I'm reading, I'm annotating, writing notes, and the amount of like foreshadowing that I see is so interesting. Obviously there's a couple of things that I'm interested to see how that will play out. I didn't really do all my annotations last night, so I will be doing a little bit this morning, just on the last couple of chapters, I think, just because like just some foreshadowing things that I want to like break down for myself, not for any other reason other than I want to and I can. I'm still thoroughly enjoying this. I'm really hoping to finish it this week. I only have 2 stories left. Okay, I have 2 stories left. I have The Assassin in the Underworld and then The Assassin and the Empire. So I will be finishing The Assassin and the Empire tomorrow, therefore finishing The Assassin's Blade. But I really am enjoying my reread so far. As I said, this is my very first time actually going through it, annotating it, doing some tabs. Obviously I've done tabs before, but like really getting myself stuck into it, taking my time, because I mean, I've read these books before. I'm not really trying to read them for new things until I get to Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. But yeah, I'm really excited to continue reading this today, just because I feel like a lot of people think that when they read Throne of Glass, the very first book, that, you know, Selena is very underdeveloped, but I would recommend reading this true to chronological order, just because you get to see Selena being a little bit more of her badass self, and it becomes a little bit less show and tell in the first book and a little bit more like you can understand why she says those things. So that's my opinion so far. I'm really excited to continue, and I'm really excited to make the big chunk in this book where I'm basically almost done with it, which would be really, really great. So I have finally picked up The Assassin's Blade again. I haven't gotten much further, to be honest. I only read to page 276, which I'm still on the chapter of the Underworld, but I know what's gonna happen, and I'm not emotionally ready. So I'm definitely taking this at my own pace, but I am hoping to get through it quite quickly in the upcoming 2 days or so. I do want to actually finish it because it's keeping me back from reading other books without the guilt of knowing that I haven't finished this one. So that is my plan for the next 2 days, is to read it. I am still obviously annotating it. I'm going to show you what my annotations are looking like at the moment. So here I did like 2 across the page annotations. So yeah, so it's definitely going well annotating wise, and I think it's going to be nice that in the future, because those already exist, I can always add to them. But yeah, I need to make progress so that I can continue on into Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight this month, which is now May, and May is almost over. So I need to get a move on basically, because I still need to read Air of Fire this month, but I might have to squeeze in Air of Fire in June with Queen of Shadows, because those 2 are my like favorites. So we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, that is the update I have for you right now regarding Throne of Glass. Okay, this will hopefully be the very last part to this, what I feel like has been a very long vlog. Depending on how much footage I have, I might actually just end up doing videos per book, but I'm officially about to finish The Assassin's Blade. I know I said that last time, but this time for real, okay? I'm currently on page 276. The reason why it's taking me so long is I know how it ends, okay? I really do, and I really do want to read the series and finish it this year and stuff. Man, the emotional readiness I need to be for this ending, I'm just not there yet. But what I have done is I've got a Throne of Glass. I'll show you what it looks like. Maybe have it linked. I have this playlist on in the background. I have my coffee ready. I have my cat and my phone that just fell. I have my cat on my lap. I have a blanket on my lap. I am cozy. I am warm. I have my book. I have my tabs. I have scissors. I have everything I literally need in order to just sit down and read this book. So that's what I'm gonna do, and you're gonna watch me do it because I refuse to end this unless the battery dies or I finish the book, and I'm gonna give you like my wrapped up feelings for this book. But for now, let's you and me sit down, read this book, and finish it off. After reading this for like nearly a month, so I finally did it. I finally finished The Assassin's Blade. The ending is always the worst for me because it just hits me in the feels so intensely. But I'm glad I finally finished it. I've been sitting on like these last two stories for the last couple of weeks because I just know what's gonna happen. I've read this book so many times, and every time I've sat here and I'm like, I'm just not ready to experience the end. Last week I was like, I just have to finish it. I just have to, because I want to continue on with the series because it gets better. Honestly, I can definitely understand why people don't like this one, but I feel like the more you know about like the characters, the more you read about them, the better this one is. So I personally like reading this before I start Throne of Glass, but keeping in mind that when I originally started Throne of Glass, I read Throne of Glass, Crime of Midnight, Heir of Fire, then this one. That's called the romance, or the way it was published, but it's also called the romance reading order because you'll be the most affected when you read this book, when you do it that way. I do think it's important to read this before you read Queen of Shadows though, just because there are some things in here, if I remember correctly from Queen of Shadows, it's been a while, that it's important that it was referenced here. All I want to say is that we know something that Selena doesn't know, and it, like every time I read that part, I'm just like, I can't wait for revenge to be had, like so intensely. But yeah, I finally finished it. I'm really happy that I did. I am really distraught. I love Sam so much. He was really the first little beacon of light for Selena in this time of her life, and it was over too quickly in my opinion. I wanted more and I will always want more, but it's done. I can finally move on to Throne of Glass, which is insane.